Welcome back, boys and girls, to another lesson with Ms. Brown. Today we're going to be learning about something called author's purpose. So a purpose for anything is your reason for doing something. And an author's purpose simply means that an author has a reason for writing the text that they choose to write. They might want to persuade their readers. That means just to convince you or make you believe something. They might want to inform their readers, which means giving you facts and information about a topic, or they might want to entertain their readers with an amusing or funny tale. So there's an acronym that can help us remember the three ways that an author might choose to write. An acronym is when you have letters that symbolize important bits of information. So the acronym that we're going to be looking at today is called PI. So each of these letters, P, I, and E, stand for one of the ways that an author will choose to write about a certain text, their purpose. So I want you to turn to a new page in your notebooks. I'm going to share my screen and we are going to be taking a few notes. All right, so at the top of the page, as always, I want you to put today's date, whatever date it is for you, and the title is Author's Purpose. And the definition of author's purpose is the reason that an author writes a text. And remember that acronym is PI, P-I-E. And each letter of PI stands for a different reason. The P stands for persuade, meaning that the author tries to convince the reader to do or believe something. The I stands for inform, when the author gives you facts or an explanation about a topic. And the E stands for entertain, which is an amusing story told for fun and enjoyment. So at this point, I want you to put me on pause. I want you to write down the definitions for author's purpose. Okay, so next we're going to move on. So it's great to actually see a visual and some examples. I'm going to show you a very short YouTube video. We're just going to give you some examples for each of the reasons that an author may choose to write. So as you're watching, think about if you've seen some of these examples for persuasion and information and entertainment. Screen, and here we go.
Today's lesson is about author's purpose. Our learning objective is I can identify the author's purpose for writing a text. Author's purpose is why the author wrote the text, or the reason for writing a text. We are going to use a helpful acronym so that identifying the author's purpose is as easy as PI. PI is spelled P-I-E. P is for persuade, I is for inform, and E is for entertain.
I'm just going to give you some examples.
P-I-E. Let's start with persuade. When the author's purpose is to persuade, it means that the author is trying to get the reader to do or believe something. Here are some examples. Commercials and advertisements try to get you to buy products. Reviews for restaurants, movies, and books persuade you to go to certain places or watch and read specific books and movies. Billboards, opinions, and books can also be examples of authors persuading you to do or believe something. Authors also write to inform. This means that the author is giving the reader information or teaching facts. Documentaries and nonfiction TV can inform viewers about a topic. Recipes or how-to books, biographies, newspapers and magazines, nonfiction books about specific topics. These are all examples in which the author's purpose is to inform. Now we are at E for entertain. This means that the author wants the reader to enjoy the story. Examples include stories, riddles and jokes, movies and TV shows, fantasy and magical stories, fiction books, mysteries, and comics. Let's review. The author's purpose is their reason for writing or creating a text. The purpose can be to persuade and get the reader to do or believe something. It can be to inform and teach about a topic, or the purpose can be to entertain the reader with a story. If you forget, just think about PIE, P-I-E, persuade, inform, entertain. Thanks for watching.
Okay, all right. So I hope that made a little bit more sense with that person giving you some examples of persuade, inform, and entertain, different forms of writing. Okay, so now we're gonna do some practice activities together. So I want you to put the title, Let's Practice, and we're gonna have 4 practice activities. So I want you to write numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. Try to get out of here. All right, now I got it. Okay, so I'm going to read to you these short passages, and I want you to look for clues in the passage that would indicate what the author's purpose is. Are they trying to convince you, persuade you, inform you, give you facts, or tell you an amusing story, entertain? Ready? Here we go. People who wanted to travel from the east to settle in the west in the mid-1800s traveled on the Oregon Trail in wagon trains. The trail started in Iowa and Missouri and stretched about 2,000 miles, 3,220 kilometers to Oregon. Over 50,000 settlers made this long and dangerous journey. Not everyone who started the journey made it to Oregon. Many died from illness, accidents, and bad weather. Okay, so what do you think the author's purpose is and why? So you can put me on pause, write what you think, and I'm going to tell you what I think. So I'm looking at this passage and I see a lot of facts. I see they traveled from the east to the west in the mid-1800s. It was called the Oregon Trail. It started in Iowa and Missouri. It stretched about 2,000 miles. So since they're giving us lots of facts, I think that this type of writing is, the purpose is to inform us because they're giving us lots of facts. So the author's purpose was to inform. Did you get that right? Give yourself a tick. You didn't get it right, put a little X. Next sample. Persuade, inform, or entertain. As it is now time for my son, the prince, to marry, we shall hold a great contest to find the strongest and bravest princess in all the kingdom, announced the king. Prince Harold sighed. He didn't care who won the contest. He didn't want to get married. He wanted to train unicorns. So put me on pause. I want you to take a guess at what you think it is and why. I'm going to put what I think. So in this story, they are talking about a kingdom. There is a king. There's a contest. Harold wants to train unicorns. What? So I'm thinking that this is a story told to entertain us because it is a fun, amusing tale. Did you get that? Okay. All right, practice number 3. Marsupials are a type of mammal. Female marsupials have a pocket that they use for carrying and protecting their babies. Most marsupials, such as kangaroos, wallabies, wombats, and koalas, live in Australia. The only marsupial native to North America is the opossum. So what do you think is the author's purpose for this text? Well, I'm looking at some facts. Marsupials are a type of mammal. The females have pockets that they carry, that they use for carrying and protecting their babies. They live in Australia. So this type of text is informational because they are giving us facts about marsupials. And the last example, I know you are super busy, but can you please help me with the math homework today? You are so good at math and I'm really having trouble. Plus, if you help me today, I will help you with your book report next week. Also, my mom made these totally yummy cookies today, and we can have some while we are working. So the first detail that stood out to me was the fact that the person's mom made cookies. And if you come while we're working, you can have some cookies. So what is this author trying to get the reader to do? Okay, what do you think? So I hope that you thought that he's trying to persuade the reader. Okay, he's trying to convince the reader of something. Okay, so did you get those right? All right, so I hope that with the examples that you saw on YouTube, my explanation, that practice, I hope that author's purpose is a little bit easier for you if you were having some trouble with it. So I want you to do some practice on your own on Raz Kids. So on Raz Kids, I'm going to pop a book into your account. It's called Soccer is a Kick. And you can listen to the story, then you can read the story. And as you're listening and reading, I want you to think about what was the author's purpose for writing Soccer is a Kick. Just think of Pi. Was he trying to persuade you, inform you, or entertain you? Okay, so once you finish reading, there is a practice activity that I want you to try. So here's a practice activity. Okay. All right, so there are three options that you have to choose. What is the author's purpose? Make sure you can see it. The author's purpose is to, do you think the author's purpose is to convince me to play soccer? Was that the purpose of writing this text? Was the author's purpose to teach me about the way soccer is played? Or to entertain me with silly soccer stories? The first thing you have to do is you have to circle which purpose you think the author is trying to achieve. Persuade, inform, or entertain. At the bottom, these are some examples that support those purposes. Some of these purposes support the author trying to convince you. Okay, so I want you to circle those. If you think that the author was trying to inform you about a topic, some of these sentences down below, they are facts that will support the author trying to teach you about soccer. So you will circle those. And if you think that the text is about entertaining you with silly soccer stories, some of these sentences will actually support the author telling an interesting, funny tale, okay, something amusing. All right, so you're going to choose the purpose and then choose the examples that support the purpose, okay? And when you can complete that activity, you can submit to me and I can see how you did, and to see if determining author's purpose is actually as easy as Pi. So if there are any parts of author's purpose that you were confused about, just go back to the beginning of the video, look at the definitions, you can rewatch the video, and if you get stuck, let me know, okay? Until next time, keep on reading, bye.